Hello again, Struck. Welcome back to another day of streaming with me, Struck. We will be continuing, well, not continuing, we will be doing some farming on the hero I was playing yesterday. So the Bane, not the Bane, the Electrode Railmaster, the Train Electrode Railmaster. I will be farming some level 60 stuff, so that means ridiculous. We are switching to ridiculous to farm. Just a moment. There we go. First of all, I need to work on the hero I uploaded as a build today to transfer some items. Because I took some of the items from that hero. So yeah, I'm gonna transfer some items quickly. It won't take long. I forgot to do it earlier. I've been very busy. I mean, my stream is delayed by so much today because the stupid Adobe Premiere kept crashing and not letting me export. Even after restarting the PC, it kept crashing, and eventually I somehow managed to get it to render everything properly. So yeah, we will stream for another 2.5 hours, or 2 hours and 15 minutes, something like that. We'll see. 2 hours at least for sure. But yeah, let's just quickly transfer some items from this hero to the other one. So I'm transferring this and this. Not sure if okay, let's transfer this. I will transfer the cosmic breastplate just because I want it for that other setup. I'm gonna transfer this. I'm probably gonna transfer this, and I wanna maybe experiment with this one, but we'll see. And I definitely wanna transfer those back. But yeah, yesterday I was looking for that cosmic breastplate, and I forgot that I had one on a different hero, and thankfully now I can use it on this setup. Sky noticed some images moving on my phone, and he was like, "Oh, what's that? What the hell is that?" He's sitting right here, Sky, next to his feeding spot. Although he did it right a little bit before my stream started, so we have fed him.
Your pet is hurting.
Let's see what I can do with the gear I transferred. Okay. So I'm replacing this, Dude, what is happening? Please don't tell me I'm gonna lose items due to whack. No. Don't tell me this is happening again. Losing items due to whack. No, okay, good. It loaded. It happened once. Once I lost an item due to whack when transferring from the storage out of it. Thankfully, it loaded quickly this time. So I'm gonna replace the cosmic gauntlets, and then I will take this and this. So now the question is, do I want to go full Ancient Ember set or not? Because I will lose a lot of flamethrower card damage if I take those. They're obviously not perfectly wrought. I'm obviously not even using Conjure Electrode, but I might experiment with using Conjure Electrode to see how that goes. I'm super happy with Walkwise Storm for this setup, and I think I shouldn't touch it, but we've got some Respectacles, we can check some things. Thankfully I'm making some room now for new things, meaning Liu General, hello, Liu General, and now what else do I get here? I could get crit chance from the boots. Or I could get something train related. Not sure I need train related stuff. Honestly, I've got enough. Oh yeah, I can try and get the spiky stuff. Is it helmet? Helmet. Ancient Ember helmet. I'm not sure I need it, but... Oh, and I forgot to change the difficulty. Just a moment. I need to change the difficulty. But yeah, I want to try this spiky spike thing. I've got the perfect opportunity to do it. So if I go for 3 pieces Ancient Ember, I can actually use this this thing. If only I had an Ancient Ember helmet, I can then swap the Railmaster one. And that would have been fun. Or I could just equip 2 more pieces Ancient Ember. And just keep that thing swatted. For now, I'm gonna do it however the way it is. The way it's right now. Just need to socket the helmet for some defense. What's my lowest defense, by the way? Poison and... oh, I definitely need physical. Yeah. I'm gonna do it that way. Physical from the first try. Okay, so that gave me 1-2% more. Something still dragging my defense down and I don't know what it is. Obviously this one could use another 5,000 at the top. $6,000. This one doesn't have defense. For now I'm gonna play with this defense, see how I can handle it. Ah shit, wrong button. Okay, let's go. Let's keep pushing the Fazir now. For a little while. I'm gonna go for the gear wookie stuff. We're on to gear farming mode. Aragon Show says hi. Hi Aragon Show. Welcome back. Come on, vote. Oh, they've already started with the... Where are all the enemies? Yeah, Live General is definitely fun. There aren't any enemies here, like barely spawning any. And where are the champions, the elites, the uniques, the legendaries? And just trash mobs. Finally some legendary enemies. Barely any enemies in this map. And now just one more quest drop, really? One more quest drop. Okay, there's one big part over there I haven't explored. Hopefully some of the enemies are there. Oh, there's some here. Come on, drop me that that item. Come on. There we go. Let's finish this map. Saving my energy. Saving Kimbu Relic for the boss fight, so I can trigger Live General right before the boss. Sword of the Lost Legion, nice. And Aragon says, I really like this game, I like it more than Wolfen and Warhammer. I hope Diablo Immortal is also good till Diablo 4 comes out, but Diablo 4 needs 2 more years. Yeah, Diablo needs a lot of time. I'm assuming 2022 is Diablo 4 summer. Summer 22 Diablo 4 beta is what I've been predicting as well. Maybe this year around the summer or during BlizzCon, the online BlizzCon, we could see some news about it. But yeah, we will see. And beta, that it's gonna be at first they're probably gonna do closed beta, and then eventually move on to a more early access kind of beta or whatever. The same. I'm assuming they might do something similar to what they did with Warcraft 3 Remastered in regards to beta. I really hope it's good, but I'm not gonna get my hopes up too high, because you know, if Activision meddle in the development too much and cripple the creative process by asking them to put things that shouldn't be put in the game, obviously we might get something boring. But so far what I've seen about Diablo 4 gives me a reason to believe that the game might end up a good one. We'll see. I mean, Diablo 3 was also pretty good in promotional material before the game launched, and in trailers and all sorts of articles and stuff before it. But when it launched, it had that auction house, and the PvP was nowhere to be found that they were advertising. Not that I really cared much about the PvP, although at that time I did. Right now I don't. Right now I prefer solid PvE without PvP. instead of sacrificing some of the features of the PvE so they have more time to develop PvP. I'd rather devs focus on PvE in those games, and PvP can always come after launch. But Blizzard with Diablo 3 they did very wrong. When they kept advertising the PvP, they used PvP to promote the game, to sell it, and then the PvP was just nowhere to be found. That was a wrong move. If they said, hey, we are planning on adding PvP eventually after launch, and then just focused on the PvE aspects of the game, could have been better. But Diablo 3 still did a lot of things well. For all the things it did bad, it still did a lot of things well. But it definitely didn't feel like a successor to Diablo 2. At least to me, it didn't feel like it. It felt like a different game. It didn't feel like a Diablo game to me. It felt like an okay ARPG. If it wasn't in the Diablo universe, maybe it could have done better. If they used that game to just not be Diablo 3 and made it something else with some different characters and stuff, maybe it could have done better with those mechanics and stuff. And Path of Exile's success is to a great. Obviously, Path of Exile's success is deserved, but Diablo 3's failure also meant more people were looking for other games, such as Grim Dawn and Path of Exile. Those games, obviously, if Diablo 3 was what we wanted it to be, wouldn't have gotten as many people playing them, because those people would have been playing Diablo 3 if it was actually a game they liked. So people kept looking for the Diablo 2 vibe in Grim Dawn and in Path of Exile. And those games definitely have more of a Diablo 2 vibe compared to Diablo 3. And Diablo 4 seems to have more of a Diablo 2 vibe as well, so we'll see how this plays out in the end. Path of Exile has a very big player base at the beginning of a season, maybe a league, not season, league, wrong word. At the beginning of a league for the first 2-3 weeks, and then the player base drops, which is kind of how it is with those games that rely on leagues and seasons. Pudding Lime is back, welcome back, I'm waving back to Pudding Lime. Exactly, Path of Exile is not for everyone. I'm one of the people Path of Exile is not for. There's just too much disparity between meta builds and trash builds. It's super easy to make a trash build in Path of Exile. The harder it is to make a trash build in a game, the better the game is for me in regards to balance. There's a huge disbalance in Path of Exile, and it requires a lot of min-maxing and synergizing, and just it requires a lot of knowledge regarding synergies between items, between skills and stuff. And making a shit build would not take you anywhere. You won't be able to do the basic bosses, you won't be able to do the highest tier maps, you won't be able to even do the labyrinth if you have a shit build. In Torchlight 3 with a shit build you can still do Fazir, probably not as easy, and it's gonna be taking 2, 3, 4 times longer to complete maps on a shit build compared to a meta build in Torchlight 3, but the shit build would still be able to finish the hardest content in the game. And this is nice because a little bit more balanced that way. It's more like choosing your flavor, choosing your playstyle instead of choosing what's meta. This build, for example, could classify as one of the meta builds, because, well, with shit gear I'm doing right now for 25 with a weapon that does only 7,400 attack. So obviously the build with good gear can be taken to the ends. of the dungeon. But I always knew this would be one such build when I started leveling this, because trains and electrode are a strong combo, regardless of what skill you take from the electrode. Aragon says Torchlight 2 and Torchlight 3 is kind of similar, and that is a good thing. I finished Torchlight 2 and really loved it. I'm glad to hear that. I mean, many people prefer Torchlight 2 to this game. I think when mods are when we're talking about modded Torchlight 2, I can agree that it has a lot more to offer. But some of the things in Torchlight 2, I rather like how they are done here. Like the skill system in this game, I like more to the skill system in Torchlight 2. The pet system, this one I like more, but this one needs more work. In Torchlight 2, the pet system had a bigger impact on your combat, on your farming and on your strengths as a hero, as a build. Whereas in this game, yeah, it gives you a little bit of extra buffs, it has some extra skills that it can proc every now and then, but they're growing the system, they're giving us more skills with the recent patches, so eventually they're gonna give us more and more skills. Eventually they're probably gonna add a stance system with passive, active and neutral stance, and maybe as I've been requesting for a long time, a pet attack move button for the minions and the pet. But yeah, I'd rather than focus on the end game and leave the pet changes for later. I'm fine if I don't get pet changes for the next half a year, as long as I get in the next half a year some sort of new end game activity that's different than the Fazir, and that gives you gear that's worth equipping, not like the alpaca level. Dividing or Gearwalkie? Let's go dividing. This game has a ton of potential. This game, just like Warhammer Chaos Bane, has a lot of potential as long as they focus on patching the right things. As long as they spend their time wisely when it comes to man hours, to updating the game. Because I've seen it happen when developers would go and focus on the wrong things, on things that are not really necessary and are not like a priority to the player base, and they're good and people would appreciate those changes, but then eventually it would have been better if the time was spent doing something else. Warhammer Chaos Bane did something similar in the first few months after launch. It added invasion and green items, and after that it started focusing on the wrong things. Eventually with the Tomb Kings it started taking things in the right track, started rebalancing things a bit better, although it took them a long time to rebalance Elessa as a hero. And they eventually started adding more endgame activities like the Tower of Chaos, but for example Warhammer Chaos Bane for me right now needs to improve the invasion experience, and it needs to make it so that doing boss rushes is actually worth it for people who love this type of playstyle, and they need to make the Tower of Chaos more worth the time spent. If you compare, for example, in Chaos Bane, the time spent in Tower of Chaos versus the rewards you can get to doing upgrade relicants, you're gonna see you get much better rewards in upgrade relicants. And the Tower of Chaos, the further you go, the less returns you get per time spent. So that's why when I go in Warhammer Chaos Bane and I run Tower of Chaos, I don't do more than one or two floors. One or two floors gives me good coins. It gives me 1 or 2 coins. Sometimes just for one floor I can get 2 coins. Because the coins don't grow with the floors. If I clear 10 floors of the Tower of Chaos and collect, I'm not gonna get 10 coins. At best I can get maybe 3 or 4 coins at best. But most likely I would get 1 or 2 coins for 10 floors. which obviously makes it kind of worthless to do more than 1 or 2 forts, unless you just want to test your build, see how far you can take it. The same goes with this game and the Fazier. I kind of don't feel motivated to do to go higher in the Fazier stages, because it's more of the same. It's not a different experience. The enemies get more HP and damage and speed, and I get higher stats on my gear that drops, and it's just a power creep. That's it, and it's a boring way of doing it. The experience is the same. The monsters don't start using new abilities when I go higher in the Fazier. The only thing that changes is maybe a few more affixes, a couple more affixes, or one more affix in the middle. And that's it. But it's basically the exact same experience at the beginning and at the end. Come on. Wolsen, you mentioned Wolsen earlier. Wolsen has the same problem as Torchlight 3. They creep out their ideas by adding power creep to items, which limits them to only adding new endgame activities that implement this system, or not adding new endgame activities like Wolsen did. For 10 months, they didn't add a single endgame activity. They only added a mechanic, the hunt, and that was it. For 10 months, where people kept telling them that they want more endgame, that this game, that wasn't really needed endgame. But when they spend 10 months and don't give them even a bounty system like Diablo 3 would have been better. Something else. They could have recycled their old. They could have recycled the single player maps from WoW and made some bounties there. Or they could have made a simple survival mode with some of the arenas, some of the boss maps and arenas. AD UK says Galactic Civilizations 3 is free on Epic. Really? Let's open my Epic store just so I don't forget about this. Wolsen updates, but that's not updates. That's stupid hotfixes. They fucked up with the update and they start spamming hotfixes. So yeah, that's not the way it needs to be done. I gave them so many different chances with Wolsen, and I'll see if I'm gonna even return with the next update. If there's no endgame additions with the next update, I'm not gonna even bother. But yeah, we'll see. Okay, I just grabbed my Galactic Civilization 3 for free on Epic. Thanks for that info, AD. They keep updating, but yeah, if I check the latest updates in Wolsen, let's see. I'm gonna go to my news channel, Wolsen in the Graveyard. So there's a hotfix 1107. So there's been 7 hotfixes, and that's it, just hotfixes. Since the patch, since the boot trail patch in December. But the boot trail patch was the biggest disappointment of 2020, and that's considering things like Godfall and that was badly optimized compared to what they were saying as suggested recommended PC specs. And then the same goes for Cyberpunk. Super good game in regards to story, but very disappointing in terms of advertising, false advertising, minimum and recommended PC specs. But the games were good, whereas with Wolsen, it's still for me the biggest disappointment of last year, because this boot trail, I mean, the only thing more disappointing than the launch of Wolsen was the boot trail patch. Yeah, they did a lot of rebalancing, but they were focusing on the wrong things. Giving people pets and some shit like that. They could have spent the time developing new endgame activities instead of developing a pet system, cosmetical pet system. But I guess they have to add some Twitch drops and things like that, because that's what people care about, obviously, as per the devs. whoever was giving them feedback, they had a closed group of testers, should be ashamed of not telling them to add new endgame in regards to Wilson's closed feedback. Because they had, just like Torchlight 3, they had a group of people. I mean, the game is lagging, it's not letting me summon my train. Wilson had, just like Torchlight 3, a close group of people testing throughout those 10 months and giving feedback. And those people should be ashamed for not telling them to stop adding bullshit stuff like pets and to focus on adding new endgame activities. Not mechanics like the hunt, but activities. Because Wilson is not Path of Exile. Path of Exile, if they add the hunt mechanic from Wilson, the blood trail mechanic, if you take that mechanic and add it to Path of Exile, it will fit amazingly well, because Path of Exile has a ton of different content where you can attach this. Well, while you're running maps, while you're running other things, you can still encounter those hunt trails and you can use those. But in Wilson, where they only have expeditions and the story, it's a bad move. They proved once again that their management is terrible at making decisions for the future of Wilson. It has always had problems on a higher level. I'm pretty sure it's not the developers' fault that they were made to do such type of development, to focus on the wrong things. It's something on a managerial level, and there's not much you can do when it's on a managerial level. Because they hardly would change that way. If it's someone very, very high up deciding the things, if it's, for example, the owner of the company, the devs have nothing to do about it. If it's the owner of Wilson Studio who is making them add blood trail instead of new endgame activities, instead of like a survival mode or a payload mode or a defense mode or whatever type of endgame activity, or a nemesis mode, bounty mode, whatever. There's many modes you can add as activities post-story to do alongside expeditions instead of this blood trail. So yeah, for 10 months the biggest disappointment ever. I'm gonna see if Torchlight 3 will do the same thing. Hopefully they don't. If Torchlight 3 in 10 months after launch, so from October 10 months, what does that make? August. If by August they haven't added another endgame activity, I will be seriously disappointed. So we still have another 7 months or so until August. So within those 7 months, maybe let's say 6 months, let's hope they add a new endgame activity, something completely different than the Fazier. Let's hope they don't pull a Wilson on us. After pulling a Wilson on us with this power creep, I hope they don't do another Wilson on us by ignoring the demands of the player base, the feedback. Let's not say demands. Demands sounds bad. The feedback of the player base. Demand sounds as if the player base is asking for ransom. But yeah, the feedback that it just gets boring doing the same activity over and over and over. You get PTSD by doing the same activity too much without having something else to take your mind off it as a second activity. Let me check the chat again. And yeah, I've said it many times in Wilson how the big open world, Grim Dawn style and Diablo 2 style open world, where you can go from one end of Act 1 to the other end of Act 1 just by traversing without a single loading screen. This one was great, but I think the Cry engine made them change this because they were having performance problems. And they had a great system in Wilson. They had one of the most innovative systems where you could stack different elements on an enemy and get some bonus effects. Like, I said it many times in my stream, but in the alpha, if an enemy was standing in water and I was hitting it with the lightning strike skill, whatever the name was, thunder strike or whatever, it would take extra damage due to conductivity, or if it was on fire and you hit it with some sort of acid, it would cause an explosion or something like that. Can't remember exactly all the combos, but there were combos you could do similar to the combos in Guild Wars 2, where you could prime them for a combo and then use a combo finisher, but with a different physics, where it was element based. This was a great idea, but they sacrificed this idea and went for an easy mode, where they just made the most generic ARPG out there with some innovative features, where others were terrible. And the gem socketing system was a good idea, but they didn't execute it well. They kept promising before Wolcen launched that we would be able to change the... we would be able to get a lot of control. That's the word they used. Have control over your affixes, over what goes on each item. And then you go into the game and you socket an item with 3 red gems, and then you get an affix that doesn't even belong to red gems, that's on a blue or a green gem or a yellow gem. So then what's the point of socketing before re-rolling? Also, the drop rates in Wolcen were grindier than an MMO. The XP rates in Wolcen after level 80 or 79 were grindier than an MMO. It doesn't fit. It doesn't fit to have such a visually stunningly looking game, beautiful game with fast-paced combat and mechanics, and then to have this slow-paced leveling for no real reason. If someone gives me a good reason why the leveling in Wolcen should be slow, I'm gonna agree. So far I haven't heard good reasons. The only real reason is for the sake of grinding, because they think there won't be much to do after you reach max level. And it is true, there isn't much to do after you reach max level, other than expeditions. But expeditions still could have been fun. Then there's the Wrath of Saricel expeditions. Super bad mechanic, super bad design, especially in multiplayer, when you're playing and then your teammate runs off, and then you get ambushed and stun walked by an enemy that you can't get out of this crowd control unless a teammate comes and hits the enemy. Super bad system. This whole Wrath of Saricel, I mean, as I said many times, Wolcen has been getting worse and worse with each update since Alpha for me. I like the Alpha more than the Beta. I didn't like the Wrath of Saricel Beta update at all. It felt like recycling their current endgame to add another version of it instead of adding new endgame. And definitely the launch had so many problems, and then the blood trail was the cherry at the top of the disappointment cake with Wolcen. Let's try and find the final goblin dinner. I think it was somewhere at the beginning of the map. I need to switch on my FPS meter so we can see how much the FPS is dropping while playing this build. I've been wondering what's gonna happen if I switch to ridiculous. Let me just quickly switch Afterburner. Okay, that's it. Let's see. So the FPS drops to 29 FPS. Do you see what I'm talking about? Obviously my GPU is 1066 gigabytes, so a 6-year-old GPU. But in Torchlight 3 my FPS drops to 30 FPS when playing this relic. And that's why I always say people, if they're playing on an old generation console or Switch, to stay away from electrodes. Because if you want to play an electrode well, it means there's going to be a lot of things on the screen, like shock bolts, like lightning strikes, and all sorts of other things, which cause FPS drops. But soon, in a few months, I should have enough money to buy a video card. And if there's enough supply, I will get something. If there isn't, I will just start waiting. The problem is, in our country there are no waiting lists. But what I'm gonna do is, I'm probably, when I have the money, I'm gonna start calling companies to see if they offer a service where I can maybe pay them a little bit extra, but they can put me on a waiting list. Or maybe pay in advance half of the price, and then when the stock is there, pay the other half. I'm gonna talk to them when the time comes. For now, I'd rather just wait and see. But there are some companies in my country that are selling GPUs, official distributors, stores that are big stores in the country with physical and online presence. They're selling things with, like, let's say 25, 30, even 40% on top of the price other stores sell. It's like they're buying from one store and then reselling, scalping. So it's sad when you see one of the biggest distributors, one of the biggest online stores and offline stores in the country selling at prices that are ridiculously high, and then people comment, tell them, why are you selling such high prices, and they say, oh, it's import taxes and other things like that. But then why are the other stores not selling at higher prices? Why are the other stores selling for 1.8k and this store is selling for 2.5k? For example, that's just an example from one, like for example 3080. One store sells it for 1.8k my currency, that same model, but this store sells it for 2.5k of that currency. So I'm not sure how many percent overpriced that is, but that's a lot. That's like almost half the price on top of it. As an added price, and their excuse is import taxes and things like that. Whereas the other store doesn't pay the other store is supposed to pay the same import tax. So why can't they sell it for the real price, for the actual price? And it's the same with every country. It's not just my country. I've opened some stores of nearby neighboring countries just to check how the prices are there. And KDonu04 said setup tour. The setup tour, we can start it. 4 points here, 4 points here, 10 points here, 10 points here, and high separator. And Fi Imrahel, I'm gonna go back to his question in a moment. Then 10 points here, 6 points here, 5 points, 5 points, 5 points. 8 points here, 4 points here. This for the introduction, this for the extra introduction and vulnerability. Now here I've got Liu General, Doom Pipe, and Ancient Ember Helmet. This is me just experimenting. So Liu General, Doom Pipe. I'm wearing Frost Woe and North Mace, which means Liu General benefits from the extra bonus. Then I've got Ancient Ember Boots. And 3 pieces of the Cosmic, which is the breastplate, the gauntlets, and the helmet. So I'm thinking of maybe experimenting with more Ancient Ember stuff. But I don't know, maybe when I make a Conjure Electrode build I can test this. I can try using this and then switching from Walkaway Storm to Conjure Electrode and then maybe maxing out this one. We'll see. For now I think this is fine. So over here I was just experimenting with Ancient Ember Helmet. You can put the Shotgunner Shield if you want. It's a good thing to put there. Blast Breakers not bad, Centrifugal Demolisher not bad, Winterweave Gauntlets very good for survivability, for Gearwork Winterweave Cuirass is amazing, and for crit chance this one, I'm actually gonna use that now. Crit chance and crowd control immunity, so you don't have to worry about annoying knockbacks. So Imrahel says, I'm going to start the Railmaster today. What do you think between Electrode and Bane? Which do you think is the stronger? As I said yesterday, I'm not sure who asked me. Someone asked me, actually 2-3 people asked me yesterday. Either of them is good. With Bane you get more damage from the train. With Electrode and Flaming Destroyer you get more damage. You get less damage from the train itself, but you get more damage from the relic skills. With Bane you get more survivability. With Separator, thank you very much for the 5 bits. Thank you very much, Jude. Really appreciate the 5 bits. And let me continue this thought before I forget what I was gonna say. Walkaway Storm gives you more movement speed. It gives you damage and movement speed. Miasma gives you defense and damage. So instead of movement speed, you get defense. You have better survivability. Miasma doesn't do as much damage as Walkaway Storm. Walkaway Storm does a lot of damage. With Bane you only have Miasma as a train build, as a viable option. The other 2 active skills are pretty much... I mean, you can still do a Venomous Maw Bane build with the train, but you're gonna be losing a lot of train damage by sacrificing the 100% minion damage. It's more of a slammer setup rather than train. With this one you can do Walkaway Storm, you can do Chaotic Strikes, you can do Conjure Electrode and it's still gonna be fine. Arachnid Assault is very underwhelming compared to 1000 Volt Burst, and I prefer 1000 Volt Burst, that's why I prefer the Electrode. This one is much better proc than the Spread of Death proc. And you get chance to shock here, whereas the Bane you don't have a passive with chance to poison. So there's that to consider. So yeah, with Bane you get more damage directly from the train skills. With this one you get a lot of damage from other sources, such as the relic side of things. The same goes for Flaming Destroyer. So I hope that clears up whether one Railmaster or another is good for you guys. I mean, it depends on how you want to play things. So with Bane, stacking that minion damage and then stacking flamethrower card damage will be very good. It will be a very good option. Just a moment. But you still get more damage with the Electrode as well. The Electrode doesn't give you more damage for the train, but it gives you more damage when the train is not shooting. You see, I can get damage while the train is not even here. From things like that. See? That's damage that's not part of the train. Those things. Now, when I add the train, obviously it's better. So it just depends. Do you want the train to be your main source of damage and to put all your eggs in one basket? And when you get a bug where you can't use your train skills, you're fucked. Right now, if I get a bug when I can't use my train skills, I at least still have my relic skills to rely on to give me some extra DPS, and sometimes I have killed bosses before I can even use my train skills, before the bug disappears. And the Electrode has allowed me to kill a full boss fight without even using the train, because yeah, it was bugged. So my personal preference is Electrode because it's my favorite relic, and because when I get bored of one skill, I can switch. When I get bored of Localized Storm, I can switch to something else, like Conjure Electrode or like Chaotic Strikes, and I won't feel bad. But again, with the train on a Bane, you're kind of stuck with Miasma. And the other skills, if you go for the other skills, you're losing a lot of damage. You're just turning into a completely different setup. So whether Miasmic Train or this one, they're equally good. They're just a matter of your personal preference, where you want the damage to come from. Okay. Oh boy. But keep in mind, my weapon is very bad. So if you're seeing low damage here, this is my weapon, 7,400 damage. Obviously bad weapon for pushing the Fuzzier, but I don't have a better one from the set. So far I haven't been able to get a better one than maybe 6,000 damage. Haven't been able to get one with a socket and with one flat damage. Or two flat damages and a socket. It's gonna be super impossible to get a good rolled Arctic Armaments weapon, either of the two, without a rerolling system. Come on. Should I just go into the portal? Let's go into the portal. I'm thinking of removing this and using basic attack instead of it. So while using the basic attack, I can at least still trigger some things. I can still trigger I can trigger lightning strikes and I can get my melee damage reduction resetting. An interesting version would be using the basic attack of the mace to trigger this passive, putting 5 points here. That would be an interesting thing to do for the DPS, and then using this. Maybe using Conjure Electrode as well for attack speed. It would be fun. But I wouldn't do a build like that until they fix the basic attack damage affixes. Ooh. This. That's, in my opinion, that's an upgrade. I'm losing some electric defense, but I'm getting defense of everything. Okay, let's see. Oh, I've got a lot of those things to collect, by the way. What time is it? 10:51. Got some time. I'm gonna be opening a few bundles after every map. I'm gonna open one more go of bundles and then do the next map. Bit by bit gotta clear those out, and while I'm doing it on a level 60 here, hopefully we get something good out of the bags. No. This. Alright, go sell and let's go.
What will it be?
Bad options. I'm gonna pick something else and hopefully reset those. Let's do a quick boss rush. Let's do a boss rush here quickly.
Sweet, I just finished. It's a fine time to die.
And then hopefully it reset the options for the other ones, so we can get something more reasonable, something worth it doing more. Give Sky a petting. He's very quiet right now. It loaded. I love Imbu Relic so much. It allows me to jumpstart the DPS on a boss. See, this is what I'm talking about, a bug where I couldn't use my... It wasn't a bug actually, this time it wasn't a bug, this time it just took a while for the train to appear. But yeah, for those few seconds, I think it was 2 or 3 seconds when I couldn't use flamethrower and shotgun, I was still doing damage from my relic side of things. I forgot to post that I'm online on Discord. That should do the trick.
Greetings, insignificant one.
Okay, this is more worth it. I'm gonna do that one with Infamous. Let's collect some bundles. Just one go. One go at them. This, and this. All right, let's go. Come on. Okay, there we go. rubber banding. Look at that rubber banding. It's not even showing me the damage numbers. That's how badly it's lagging. Something's been happening with the servers recently, and I mean, I did send them walks a few weeks ago. They asked me to send them walks. I haven't seen any improvements since then. No drops. I love this. I'm not even halfway done with my energy, and I can use Inju Relic to refill and get that damage boost. Go. This. Geraldros says finally my face. Yeah, I've been using that since the first week of this year. I was finally ready with everything, like the green screen, the lights, the other light. So now that everything's in place, I'm using it for my streams. I don't think it's needed to see my mug when making builds. In build videos, I'm already struggling to fit everything in the screen, such as the picture-in-picture footage and some images and text. So obviously, I don't want to cover too much of the game when making build videos and other guides. It's just not necessary. I don't need a face when watching a guide and a build video, but when it's streaming, it's different. You can see people's reactions when they get a good item, or when they die, or when they or when they get disconnected. I mean, it makes sense for streaming to have faces, whereas when it's a build video or something like that, I guess it's kind of unnecessary. So you won't see me using my camera in my videos. But in the streams, it's definitely gonna be here now that everything's in place. Let's see, come on. Although my reactions might not be very pronounced sometimes. maybe sometimes I may not seem as excited as I might actually be when I get a good item. But yeah, I will try to not over exaggerate much. Let's see. But yeah, the other day when I was leveling, I just couldn't contain myself. all the happiness from all the good woods when leveling up, which made the leveling much quicker. If I wasn't getting that many WoW level legendary items when leveling this hero, I wouldn't have been able to do it this quickly. It kept giving me upgraded versions of the North Mace or the Frost Wall or the Glacier's Edge, and that really helped speed up the leveling a lot. I only wish it was dropping as many legendaries as it was dropping when I was leveling. If only. I'm not sure why they designed it. They designed it like the drug dealer hooking kind of thing. Like they give you a little bit of wood, they give you a little bit of drugs to hook you, and then when you start farming the end game, you get shitty drop rates and bad RNG. But you're already hooked because they've given you some good drops when you were low level. And this is exactly how I've always thought it needs to be in games to hook the player. Some games do it exactly the opposite. You get better drops when you're high level. They don't hook you. But I think the leveling should be easier than the end game. Leveling shouldn't be a bore. It shouldn't be a chore to do the leveling. It should be more pleasant. It should be more about the story. And if someone wants a difficulty, they can always go to play ridiculous. But yeah, I was leveling on normal, and it felt normal to me. It felt okay with this build. With other builds, it felt so boring to level. With some other builds, not all, some. This build definitely felt like a very good run. But obviously, if I were to play a new account, fresh new account without abusing the bug without abusing the bug of the extra skill level items that allowed me after level 3 to use flamethrower car, obviously it would have been much slower to level up, but still would have been quick enough, because Walkaway Storm was just, it's an MVP skill for the WoW levels of this relic. Walkaway Storm and Chaotic Strikes are both amazing skills to level up an Electrode build with. Come on, train, use the damn skill. Look at the train, it's stuck. It doesn't wanna use. Finally, it finally started. You see how many seconds it took my train to actually start using flamethrower car and shotgun car. And now it's not letting me use build train. Okay, it's finally letting me use build train. This is the bug I was talking about, and it's been happening since the last update, since the last patch, the small hotfix. Although I haven't been playing much Railmaster to know if it was happening before the hotfix, after the Snow and Steam update. But I think it was introduced, this bug, with the hotfix, with the patch few days ago. And it normally happens on boss fights, where you really need those skills to trigger as soon as possible. Because when I use Imbue Relic, I have 8 seconds of this buff. And I want in those 8 seconds, as soon as I click 2 and 4, my train to start using 2 and 4. To start using the skills. Did you see how the train teleported from here to here? It's so choppy. I think this is just server related problems.
I've got one of those at home. You know, in the bottle.
Okay, I'm gonna wait for a better map. In the meantime, let's do another boss run.
What will it be? Boy, that...
So, ideally tomorrow I will be uploading this video. If by the end of tonight I don't think it's ready, I will probably do Electrified Sharpshooter 2.0. We'll see. Either this video tomorrow and Electrified Sharpshooter the day after, or the other way around. But yeah, for the next 2 days there's 2 electrode builds. Electrified Sharpshooter 2.0 and this one. Which one first? See, my train again doesn't want to use skills. I'm pressing 2 and 4. You're probably even hearing me press 2 and 4 and finally use them. Okay. Just quickly checking something. Okay, let's go. I'm gonna get some blue stuff. And again, it's wagging, it's not actually destroying the items. It's not destroying the items. Okay, it finally started destroying them. Something broke. Around Christmas, a few days before Christmas, something broke on the servers and they started wagging so much. And I'm not the only person complaining from this. I've talked to some other people who have been telling me that they have seen some delays and some desyncing. No, Sky woke up. Sky just woke up. Okay, I gave him a little bit of a petting. It probably was because of new players, but the thing is, right now there aren't that many people on the Steam servers. Unless the Steam servers and Xbox servers are using the same rack, the same big server, like, not sure how to call it, the same machine, let's say. Unless they're on the same machine, just different nodes, I don't see a reasonable explanation why when there's like 200-300 people on Steam, it would be performing this badly compared to when there's when there used to be much more concurrent users logged on. And those numbers are just global. Those numbers I'm giving you are global numbers across Steam. So if there's a couple or 300-400 people on Steam from all countries, obviously I'm on EU, and obviously, yeah, maybe when I play most people are also online on EU. But yeah, it's just weird. I don't think Xbox and PlayStation and Switch players are impacting the performance of PC players, unless they really made it so that all the different servers are nodes on the same machine. And it's the same machine handling the connection on the different platforms for each region. There's that tablet of Etuya. Nerd Gamer says, I'm working Blood Drinker Forge build, but it's too overpowered for ridiculous. Can you recommend me how to raise rapid strike damage? What do you mean overpowered? Do you mean underpowered? Like, do you mean that you are overpowered or the enemies are overpowered? And welcome back, Nerd Gamer. But yeah, please, if you can tell me exactly what you mean, because I'm not sure I understand what's overpowered. Oh, the enemies. Okay. If you want to get more damage for Rapid Strike, obviously you want to level up Rapid Strike, and then you want to get damage to Rapid Strike affixes, and obviously the most basic thing is to keep your weapon up to speed. If you're having trouble surviving, then maybe open a Mapworks portal. Get a Mapworks portal opened up, get a few more levels, get more skill points by getting those levels, and get better items. Keep your items up to speed while leveling up. Blue items, wife binding blue items. Blue items are your best friend, and scrolls of wife bound are another best friend of yours while leveling up. And keep gambling for blue weapons, one-handed blue weapons, and maybe use a shield. If you're having problems surviving, a shield is always a great choice. So obviously if you get a good legendary that gives you better DPS than a blue item, you might want to save it. But yeah, damage reduction also can help you from Vortex Bomb. So Vortex Bomb tier 3 and tier 2 are amazing, and I normally get level 10 Vortex Bomb as soon as I can get it. For me, level 10 Vortex Bomb is a huge priority when leveling forged builds, because I want that extra cooldown so I can vent quicker, and I want that damage reduction. Yeah, let me quickly check the concurrent users on Steam right now. Earlier it was 200 and something. It's 293 with 24-hour peak, 320 on Steam. So yeah, that shouldn't be that much of a vote on the Steam servers. Okay, let's see. I'll do this one. It says you can't shock enemies, but you can actually shock enemies. It says immunity, but it's not immunity, it's resistance, from what I've noticed on those maps. Let's see. Come on. I'm shocking enemies just fine on a map that says shock immunity. So it's not really immunity, it's more like resistance. It's like harder to shock them. Okay. That was a quick one. By the way, what pet skills did I put? The usual. I'm wondering if I should put defender for the later stages, because right now my crit chance is fine. I have crit chance from the boots, I have crit chance from the aura, but I also have crit chance from gear, which probably is not needed. I mean, the aura and the boots give me cap. Just with the boots and the aura, I get 40 crit chance. I mean, just from the boots and this one, the pet aura. Disappeared. Okay, it's here now. see. The main skill for use, well, it depends on what build you're making. If you're leveling a melee build, Rapid Strike is definitely good while leveling up. But I don't focus on the damage when leveling first. I focus on cooldown, and I focus on the spender. The main damage dealing for me is the spending skills, which would be things like just a moment. It would be things like rapid, not rapid, like steam powered uppercut. What was the other one? Fracking strike, pressure shot, and critical mass. Those are the main sources of damage to the forged right now after the rework. The steam spenders. The heat builders are good while leveling in the first few levels, but eventually the way I play it is I use the heat builders less often, and I focus more on vortex bomb to generate steam, and then using the steam. But yeah, Rapid Strike is a very good one to invest in the first few levels, and then eventually you can either respec it or just shift your focus on different skills later. Which is better? The best is pressure shot. Pressure shot is the best damage per second. Critical mass is more damage, but critical mass is a bit more difficult to get the hang of because it requires steam and heat. So critical mass gives you the best damage per hit, but the most damage per second is a pressure shot. And it gives you range. So I prefer personally pressure shot, but the thing with pressure shot is and critical mass is you need a good cannon. You can't wing it with a level 1 cannon like you can with melee builds. Melee builds that don't use cannon damage, chest gun damage skills can just put a level 1 or level 10 or 20 unstable war arm to boost vortex bomb and just ignore the cannon as a piece of equipment to farm. As long as you have an unstable war arm, regardless of what level, you should be fine. Especially if you get some relic energy generation and things like that. That's good enough. But between fracking strike and critical mass, I prefer critical mass personally. Fracking strike, it's broken, not really broken, but it can miss. You can be point blank to an enemy and still miss because of the way the projectile travels. I think it should be one big shockwave, 360 radius, instead of a bunch of little shockwaves. If they make it one big 360 wave, then they can sort this, and then I would know that silly stuff like using fracking strike right next to a big enemy won't result on missing the enemy. Because right now it can result in missing the enemy even though you're like point blank. Which I don't think there's anything sillier than that for such a skill like fracking strike. My train still doesn't want to use train skills. This is just... it's pissing me off. It's pissing me off not being able to use the stupid train skills. I'm still trying. It's still not letting me. I'm pressing 2 and 4 all the time. I'm just constantly pressing 2 and 4. And it just refuses to use them. Come on, use it, use it. Use the stupid fucking skill. This is just annoying. Finally, after the enemies died, it started using the skills. This is just fucking bullshit. You can see I'm getting super tilted by this stuff. Making a train build exactly when the skills are broken. Come on. I'm not sure what happened for this to get this broken. But yeah, if I knew the skills are broken, I wouldn't have started leveling this build until they fixed them. I would have started leveling something else, like a slammer build. At least the slammer skills are not broken. I was playing today on the slammer blood drinker, and at least every time I press my skill it will actually cast it without much delay. But yeah, that's right now. I would advise anyone to stay away from train builds until they fix this bug. If you easily get tilted like me from bullshit bugs that prevent you from using your skills, then just wait for them to fix it. I can't tell what even is the reason for that. I can't tell if it's server related or if it's just skill being stuck. But something's preventing us from using flamethrower car and shotgun car. And the same thing was happening on my sharpshooter with revolt and some other skills. They were just not letting me use them, even though they were in cooldown. They were ready to use. Nerd Gamer put 8 points in Cyclone mode, but you respect because it's not good. Well, with Cyclone mode, you can't get the damage right away, and you have to learn how to control it, how to get the most out of it. Cyclone mode is not for damage. Cyclone mode is for procs. So on the blood drinker, until you get rupture and chance to bleed, you're not gonna see much damage from Cyclone mode. That's what Cyclone mode is amazing for proccing things, and it's also 360 AoE, whereas Rapid Strike is just conical AoE. So again, as I said, I'd much rather shift your focus to the steam spending skills instead of the heat builders. Put the Mountain King wheel, get 2 more Mountain King pieces, and that means you only need to build 25 heat. You vent, you get 50 heat back, and then you need to build 25 to trigger the gauntlets for crit chance, and to trigger the unstable war arm for the extra damage with vortex bomb, and that means you barely need to use your heat builders, and you can focus on the higher damage skills like vortex bomb and the steam spenders. I think it's a better approach to do it that way. Although you can get a spin to win build where you're focusing on spin to win and you're stacking Cyclone mode damage, but again on ridiculous, without good items you're not gonna see much gains. Ridiculous is just not supposed to be for leveling. It's for end game farming. So unless you get super good drops and super lucky with those drops, you're gonna have a bad time. And I think, by the way, I got the bug where it despawns all the enemies. I think there should be enemies here, and now this map cannot be completed due to this bug. GG. Now we have to go back. This is another annoying bug on this map only. It only happens on this specific map layout, where it suddenly despawns, removes every single enemy from the map, and if you haven't completed the quest by then, not much you can do. The thing is, they fix something and then another 2 things get broken. They fix another thing and another few things get broken, because they keep adding new stuff. And adding new stuff always breaks old stuff in those games. That's what I've learned. I mean, I haven't played one game that doesn't have bugs when adding new stuff in this genre. And not just in this genre, in any genre. Shooters, wooter shooters, ARPG, isometric games, ARPG turn-based games. No matter what happens, I haven't played for the past few years a game that doesn't constantly get broken when new stuff gets added. But the thing is, games with bigger teams can quickly fix the bugs. Games with smaller teams just can't. And then things need to be reported. Not everyone likes constantly reporting bugs in a game that has been launched. So yeah, sometimes the developers sometimes that don't even know that certain things are broken until someone reports it. Sometimes we might report things and it would take a while for them to even see the report, because Node is getting clustered with all sorts of tickets for all sorts of things, a lot of them duplicates even. But yeah, I definitely agree there's a lot of broken things. And just looking at the amount of things that get fixed with each big update, you would see how many things get broken with this game. And, just checking any of the big updates for the past half a year, or just since launch, the 2 big updates, seeing the list of bug fixes would give you an idea of how many things get broken with each update that later need to get fixed.
I just finished tightening up the graphics on that level.
Yeah, let's collect some things. And Nerd Gamer, if I were you, I would lower the difficulty only if you don't care about this. Only if you don't care about this batch. This batch is bragging rights. It's your EP in Torchlight 3. It's the only thing you can wave in other people's faces and say, "Look at my batch. My batch is amazing." This represents the lowest difficulty you have played. So if you care about this, if you want people to see the ridiculous batch, the purple golden one, then don't change it. If you don't care about this bullshit cosmetic thing, then play on whatever difficulty feels reasonable to you. At your for your stats, for your defenses, for your damage. Obviously, leveling shouldn't take too long, because then people get bored if it takes too long to level. But yeah, ridiculous is meant to be just to test yourself. It's not the recommended difficulty in the game to level up. It's an end game difficulty. It's a difficulty where you go to farm items to use that little bit of extra gear work. In fact, I don't know why I'm even farming on ridiculous. Honestly, 20% gear work is not enough, but at least there's more champions and more fame. Not that the fame really gives me much loot. I'm getting a bunch of junk from those gear bundles at level 60. But at least I get respectacles. Probably that's the only thing keeping me playing on ridiculous. The respectacles I can get, so I can test new builds. But yeah, I don't think there's anything either motivating me to play on ridiculous compared to the other difficulties, other than the extra fame, so I can get more respectacles from the contracts. 20 gear work is just not enough to make me wanna play that difficulty. See.
I've got one of those at home. You know, in the bottle.
Especially knowing that on ridiculous I get much worse work. This is just my observation, but when playing ridiculous, I get much worse work than playing normal. Much less legendaries than playing normal, which it beats me why it's that way. It shouldn't be, but from my observation, that's what's happening. Come on. Oh, it's the same map. Hopefully I get the pancakes without the game breaking itself and deleting all the enemies on the map. I can probably just not wood the pancakes until they've all dropped to increase my chances of them dropping. Pancakes, okay. Black Fox says the game has a lot more stuff getting broken than most other games. I mean, depending what's in your most other games list. I try to compare it with games on equal footing, such as, for example, Warhammer Chaos Bane. A lot of stuff gets broken there, and stuff requires a lot of time to get fixed. For example, when Kiwa, the engineer, got added in Chaos Bane, one of her pistols wasn't working, and it still isn't working. 7 months after Kiwa was added, they still haven't fixed the Forge Blood pistol. Now the same thing is happening to the Witch Hunter. They added the class is super underpowered, and then there's one broken item, I think actually 2 broken items on that class. And I wonder if 6 months later those items would actually be fixed. But the thing is, Warhammer Chaos Bane doesn't have nodes. It doesn't have a place where people can report what's broken. So in Warhammer Chaos Bane I don't even know how the developers figure out what's broken if they don't have a place where people can report and the developers can read the reports. I did recommend to their community manager to create a note for Warhammer Chaos Bane so they can keep track of what people find as bugs, and to keep track of what the community thinks they need to add in the game, so they can kind of figure out where their priority needs to be if they wanna please the community. Torchlight 3 at least is using Node. They used to use Trevo as a roadmap before. I don't think they use it anymore. I don't think it has been updated for the past few months. I might check though. I haven't checked the Trevo roadmap in a long time to see if they've added some new stuff there for Torchlight, but I think it was something to use before launch. That was their idea about that roadmap there. Seven out of 8 pancakes. Please don't break at 7 out of 8 again. Yeah, I've been checking Steam charts like half an hour ago. I was actually talking about Steam charts. This game has a future. No, fuck, again the same bug. Seriously, I don't learn my lesson to not do the same map whenever it gets broken. It has a future as long as they focus on the right things. They need to get their priorities straight and stop listening to the people who play this game for a few days and then quit, and start listening to the people who have been playing this game for months and years and so on. For the people who actually care about this game and are not here just because that's the new hype and want to play it for a few weeks and then leave. Because yeah, some people are just playing whatever their favorite streamer is playing at the time. And that's how it was with this game when it launched. A bunch of people started playing, especially during early access. I think the biggest mistake was doing Steam early access. Obviously it allowed them to get funds for further development, which is a good thing, but Steam needs to change the way the early access reviews work. It shouldn't allow people to put a review on an early access game unless they spent a solid amount of hours. And it should separate the score from early access reviews from the actual score and show you the two scores next to each other on the store page. So you know, okay, this is the score during early access, the game was shit in early access, then the score improved after the game launched. Okay, so they've done their job, they've improved the game during early access. It would be nice to see separate scores, and many people just read the fake reviews on Steam, and yeah, a lot of the reviews are fake. I was able to debunk one of the reviewers that was using trainers and cheats to make Steam think they spent X thousand hours in the game. And when you look at the person's achievements, you can see how he unlocked every single achievement at the same second, which only can happen with a trainer in the offline version. So and he's obviously using some sort of a cheat to make Steam think he spent X hours playing the game. And the worst part was people were believing all the bullshit he said. He said that the game forces you to be online to get rewards, which is not true. It's not true. He was saying something like this contract system was forcing you to be online to keep getting rewards, and that's not it. The only thing you need to be online to get rewards is some of those mail gifts. Some of the mail gifts. You need to be online to get them, and they're only for online players when they send us gifts. But that's kind of it. There aren't any other things that you need to be online to get, other than the cheat protection. The FPS drop, yeah, and that's the Fazir, not the Fazir, that's the Fort. The Fort has a big FPS drop. I think it's this big camera angle that they made. We didn't have such a camera angle and there wasn't such an FPS drop. See, this is how it looks with normal camera. Not much FPS drop, but the problem is Electrode is very, very bad for the optimization. But also, keep in mind I'm playing on a 6-year-old GPU. This is my GPU. I'm not sure you can even see it here. You probably can't. But I'm playing on 1066 gigabytes, which for this game is fine, but I'm also streaming. But yeah, there are FPS drops that shouldn't be there. And I would like to see those FPS drops gone, but I guess they just don't have maybe the manpower to optimize the game better. First of all, the loading screens. Why do we still have such long loading screens? What's happening on the server to require those long loading screens? They really need to fix their netcode. But again, for me, priority should be end game activities instead of things like those. I'm fine if I have a little bit of a long loading screen and it takes 10, 20, 30 seconds instead of 3, 4, 5 seconds every now and then. But the boring end game that is Fazir, I don't know, I don't like Fazir. I never liked it. And it's bad for people who don't like the Fazir. They don't have anything else to keep them playing the game. And see, then there's this bug with the train cars. Right now it's not even letting me summon my train. Okay, it finally summoned it. But it's still not letting me use my train skills. Okay, it finally let me use them after a few seconds. I think they really need to improve the performance. That's one of the things that somehow got worse after launch. Somehow. And it happened around the 20-something December, 21st, 22nd. That's when I started having some serious problems with the performance, with skills lagging, with rubber banding and things like that. But this game does have future, as I said, as long as they focus on the right things. Like any other game. Any game can be salvaged. Even Wilson can be salvaged and have future if they start focusing on the right things. The only game that I don't think can be salvaged is Inquisitor Martyr, because that would require a huge rebuild from the ground up of their major systems and their classes. And that just requires a new game rather than rework, but that's Inquisitor Martyr. It's in a different category than other games for me. So Chaos Bane can be salvaged, this game can be salvaged and not salvaged, saved, let's say saved, with the right amount of direction in the right, with focusing their attention in the right direction. So far I really like some of the things they added with the last 2 updates. They added one new set with one update and a bunch of new items. And then they added another new set and a weapon offhand focus set with the last update. So since launch we got 2 armor sets, a weapon shield offhand set, and a bunch of legendary items like the Sword of the Lost Legion, the Lightning Bower and things like that that got added with the Gear and Goblins. So gear wise they have been adding new stuff, which is good, keeping it fresh, and those items are not super overpowered to make the old items not worth using. They're just providing a new playstyle, and that's why my new builds right now are using the new items, because they're different than the old ones, but it doesn't mean the old items are not bad to build around. It doesn't mean that every build needs Imbue Relic, although it's definitely a great addition to every build to have Imbue Relic, but there's ways to play the game without Imbue Relic and without reducing the cooldowns of item granted skills with the Frost Wall. But since this is a new thing for me, I'm making my new builds centered around the new thing. New takes on old builds and new builds entirely. Bug fixes are important and we always get them, but before cosmetic items I would much rather get bug fixes. But the thing is, different people work on cosmetic items than bug fixes. Different people work on end game than the people fixing some bugs with items, for example. Because I think it's different designers that work on endgame activities and on rebalancing and things like that, I guess. Maybe rebalancing Fazir and adding new endgame activities would be done by the same person. But when it comes to itemization, legendarium and those things, we know it's Michael. Michael is the man in charge of rebalancing items, fixing any item related bugs, anything related to the legendarium. But he's not the person that would be designing endgame, as far as I know. I think the person designing endgame is Sean, the lead designer. He's the one that made, I think, the Fazir, and he's in charge of anything Fazir related. And I think skill related, I think it's Anthony. I think Anthony is in charge of Relic. He was in charge, I think, of the Relic update, the Relic rework, and I think class balance and subclass balance. It's his job, I think. That's me guessing, but based on what I've heard and seen, I think that's how things are. So we can still have a bit of everything, but again, sometimes it's probably better to just shift the attention to what the community really needs. Bug fixes are always a thing. We always get bug fixes with every patch, and all sorts of bug fixes, from visual effects and sound effects bug fixes to bug fixes with items, bug fixes with skills. Different teams fix different things, but we always get those. But that doesn't mean that we can't get new endgame alongside bug fixes. see. Let's see over here. Where is the damn NPC I need to get? Okay, it's here. Let's pull them together. Nah, this guy. Separator says, wish we could trade. I wish we could trade Diablo 3 style, not Path of Exile style, because trading Path of Exile style is terrible. It's terrible. Walls and Path of Exile style trading, where people trade for real money. Grey economy is only gonna hurt this game, especially a small game that doesn't have that big of a player base. I mean, obviously trading Diablo style would be amazing, Diablo 3 style, where if you get a good item you can give it to your friends, or some sort of auction house that can prevent, not the real money auction house, in-game money auction house, that can prevent people abusing the system and selling stuff for real money. There are ways to do it. There are ways to do it in a way where you won't be able to abuse the system. But those systems, trading can introduce balance breaking bugs, exploits. Like in Wolsen, there were so many exploits with the trading system because it wasn't tested enough. If they add a trading system, they need to give us at least a month of testing that trading system on the test server, so we can make sure that if there's any type of exploit, duplicating items, duplicating gold, duplicating whatever, that we have found any type of possible exploit there is and reported it, so that when they implement that system to the public server, we don't get what happened to Wolsen. Where people were duping and doing whatever other things with that system. And the same goes for auction house system. There can be so many terrible bugs in there if it's not tested sufficiently enough. So trading is one of the riskiest things in those games in regards to how many balance breaking bugs can be introduced. But I think Diablo 3 style trading would be pretty contained, but it can still introduce bugs, Wolsen style bugs, where people can duplicate things and then disband the trade and things like that. So it's definitely gonna need extensive trading. And that's why we have test servers. We have test servers where we can try and find as many things that can break the game as possible before the thing makes its way to the live server. The problem is trading. You need two people to test trading. You can't test trading with solo. I mean, if I were to test trading, I would need one person to help me test it. If they decide to add trading and give us like 3-4 weeks of testing on the test server to try and break it in many ways. But what we need more than trading is affix re-rolling system. I wouldn't care if there's no trading as long as I can re-roll my affixes. That would make it kind of okay. I may not be able to trade, but at least I can change the affixes on this item. And before they add trading, we would need more use for gold and for the resources and for the essences. We would need more use for those. Because right now, what? If you're trading for gold, then yeah, you're gonna just use the gold for enchanting and gambling and spectacles. And there's only so much gold that you need. If you're not like me, where you play a lot of heroes all the time and constantly rework your gear. What did I get? Skittering helmet? Skittering helmet. Come on. Let's see. At least one thing someone mentioned that Max Schaefer has said. I can't remember when he said it, but someone mentioned in one of the dev streams. He said that they're contracted for 2 expansions. I still don't remember when he said that. Maybe it was in a dev stream I missed. But someone said they're contracted with their publishers for 2 expansions. So at least we know this game has at least 2 expansions future before the contract runs out. And I can't wait to see what those expansions will be. Will the first expansion be this year? Maybe around the summer? And what would it be? Would it be new zones, new heroes, new enemies, new frontiers? Will it be an endgame only frontier, level 60 plus frontier? Or will it be level 46 plus frontier, an extra act that continues from level 45-6 enemies, where act 3 leaves? We'll see. But by expansion, I'm thinking something big. I'm thinking World of Destruction in Diablo 2. That kind of that's what I consider an expansion. Like Ashes of Mahomet in Grimdown, or the one with the Shattered Realms, Forgotten Gods. That's what I consider an expansion. Something that has a new act and maybe some new masteries, like a new class or a sub-class, something like that, alongside the new zone. And introduces a new activity to do. I would not consider the Crucible DLC in Grimdown an expansion, for example. Because it's not. It's just an extra endgame activity behind the paywall. That's optional. But it's one of my favorite things in Grimdown, the Crucible DLC. And yeah, Grimdown did it well in regards to handling a buy-to-play with expansions model. So if games like Grimdawn can thrive with this business model, Torchlight 3 can also thrive as long as I said they focus on the right things. Just check how Grimdawn has been doing. It's been adding content, it's been adding new activities, it's been adding new dungeons to run, new items to get. It's constantly been expanding and people have been returning, and it has opened modding for the community, which meant people who are bored of the vanilla game can return and play some mods. But the problem is this game doesn't have multiplayer for the offline mode, whereas Grimdown you can play mods in multiplayer with others. So what we need is multiplayer mod first before any other mods. Or they can, or if the developers add official support for multiplayer for the offline version, like a Wobby based multiplayer for the offline version, like Grim Dawn, that would be nice, because then with mod support you can see the number of people playing this game would increase based on the number of people modding the game. Modding is the tool, the thing that makes good games great and mediocre games amazing. Obviously Grim Dawn is not a mediocre game, it's a good game. But yeah, it's much more fun when you download some of the mods there. Especially the Diablo 2 conversion mod. I'm a big fan of that mod. It's the closest thing to Diablo 2. That's not Diablo 2. The Reign of Terror mod. I don't think I need this. I'm gonna get rid of it. I'm gonna get rid of this as well. I'm starting to reach a part in the Fazir where it's getting a little slow with my gear. Yeah, in the inventory menu it does drop, but again, do I need this FPS? It drops to 12 even, 12, 13. I'm not even sure why the FPS drops this much. What's the reason for the FPS to drop this much in the inventory? It's not like I really need that FPS in the inventory, because I'm not fighting. I'm pretty sure it's not on my site and it's something in the game's code. I think, yeah, I think they're just capping the FPS. I think this is intentionally capping the FPS while doing certain things. But yeah, Grim Dawn is one of the best examples of how to do buy-to-play isometric water ARPGs. And it's like a masterclass at how to. Masterclass at making games in the genre. I prefer the Grim Dawn way of making games than the Path of Exile. I don't get forced to restart my hero progression every few months. I can take a hero I made 5-6 years ago and just rework it, put some new items on it, respec my skills to implement some of the new things that have been added, like new devotions and so on, and I can still have fun with that hero. And that's how it is. That's just great value. It values your time as a game. It respects the time you've put on your old characters, and it's fun that way. I'd much rather play something like Grim Dawn instead of like Path of Exile or Diablo 3, where I have to start over every season/league to get access to the new content. Although I can hardly call the season mechanics in Diablo 3 new content. It's just a new mechanic, new gimmick. But in Path of Exile there is new content, there is new mechanical changes to how certain things behave, and you can't access those unless you play in the league, or you wait for the league to end and for this to make itself to the core after a patch. So yeah. And that's not fun for me if I have to start every month and do the same boring story over and over and over, waste my time on doing something that I'd rather not. It's madness doing that when you don't feel like doing it and the game forces you to do it. I like how in Diablo 3, one of the things they did well is you can do an endgame only hero, and within a few minutes you can be max level and start farming Paragon levels. Although that's also another thing I don't like, the Paragon levels that don't have a limit. And I think they should have a limit, around 1000 something, under 2000 for sure. But yeah, in Diablo 3 you can start a new hero and bish bash bosh, get boosted to max level and just start farming endgame content without needing to do story or whatever if it's not your first playthrough. Come on, kill that one, this one. Whereas Torchlight 3 is walking you into the story. You can't do Fuzzier unless you finish the story on every new hero. Path of Exile forces you to do the story on every new hero, so you can start mapping. And it's just hours of your time you can't get back. In Chaos Bane, at least it makes sense to do the story on some of the acts, because you unlock some skills by doing the story. So in Chaos Bane, Act 5 and Act 6 give you some passive skills that may not be the meta skills, but there's things like Hero of the Desert in Act 5, which is definitely a good passive to implement in most builds. And then in Act 6 you have Padded Armor, which could be good when you need survivability. It's not like a meta skill, but I've used it in many builds. So I see a reason to do those acts. I don't see a reason to do Act 1, 2, 3 and 4 in Chaos Bane when leveling a new hero. If you've already unlocked whatever needs to be unlocked through that story, such as blessings on your first playthrough. Oh, it's already midnight. I'm gonna probably do another 1 or 2 more maps and then go get some food, feed my pet, give him medicine. He's washing his non-existent balls right now. Come on, Sky. Let's see. Real nice stuff, okay. 3 more jars. Let's get those 3 jars. I've always been asking in Torchlight 3 for them to make it so you only need to do the story once on every class. And I was saying the same thing yesterday. At class story quests, so you're playing on Railmaster, you get a Railmaster personal story that takes you throughout the campaign zones and asks you to do some things. Have it be side quest detached from the main quest and make it so that you have to complete your personal story before you can do Fuzzier. But once you complete it once on a Railmaster, you don't need to complete it on any other future Railmaster. So in the worst case, you're gonna have to do the story 4 times, 1 for every class. Or if they add more classes, X number of classes, X number of extra times. But that means I do it once on one Railmaster and I make 4 more Railmasters with other relics. I don't need to do it. I can get boosted and I can just focus on doing endgame and make this an account quest, not a hero quest, an account quest. So you complete it once. And yeah, just unlock the endgame after completing your personal story. Make it take you on a journey throughout the campaign, making you talk to some NPCs that are spread out through the maps that you level up on, the Act 1, 2 and 3 maps. And that's gonna be... First, it's gonna make the leveling a bit more fun. Giving you extra XP for those quests. Maybe some rewards, some quest-specific drops. Maybe giving you some WoW level cosmic set, celestial set, things like that. The quest sets, it could probably give you the quest sets as you do those quests. So let's say every set of the quest is 6 pieces, and you get all those 6 pieces by the time you're done with the personal story. And the final piece of the personal story could be something to do with the zone where the final boss is. That way, when you reach level 60, not level 60, when you reach level 46, you beat the story, you would have your legendarium unlocks for the quest set. Not the quest items, just the set. But I don't see a reason why they wouldn't even include some things like the Stinging Wing. Maybe you unlock that by completing a quest in Act 2. It would be low level, but at least you would have it for the legendarium. This would be a very good way of making the leveling more fun, more rewarding, and it's gonna give people more motivation to keep going. You wanna see my skills? Just a moment. Let me just get rid of those items, of the Japtem. The Japtem, where is it? This is my skills. 8 here and 4 here, so barely anything into Slammer. Tier 2 and Tier 3. Tier 2, level 10 plus 2 for extra damage on both of those. And then max here, max here, max here. 4 points here because they're left over. And then 6 here. You can do 10 here without those 4. But for mobbing this does help for trash mob clearing. Okay, I'm gonna do one more map at least. It's 9 minutes past midnight, so time to go have dinner in a moment. But it's lagging. It's not detecting the items I collected. I think I can fix it if I start attacking my dummy. See, it's not detecting that I'm doing damage. Until it starts showing me damage numbers, it's not gonna unlock. Actually, it showed me damage numbers, but not mine. It was the pet's damage number, I think. Okay, how long is it gonna take for this to stop lagging? See, I can't even use my train skills now. Oh man. I can't even use build train, mind you. Come on, server, wake up, wake up. Someone's using the servers to mine bitcoins. Although that's a bad thing, because bitcoins are mined not with CPUs, with GPUs, so obviously that's not a thing to use the server to mine. But yeah, come on, unlock. Let me collect those things. It's saying inventory is full, but it's not showing me that full inventory. What if I go to the dungeon? No, it's still not unlagging. What's my ping? My ping right now is 102, which is double my normal, more than double my normal 40 something ping. I don't know what to do to make it stop lagging. The only thing that helps is loading into a different map, and that's it. Come on. This is just so boring. Fuck this. It unlocked finally. Finally. It took a while. You see how long it took for it to load those items into my inventory. Okay, let's sell those and do the final map of the day. And let's do this map works because I opened it. Sky woke up. Right, let's see. Yeah, come on. It's still not letting me use my train skills. Come on, game. Be better. Be better. I might as well stop relying on my train skills on the train build, because, yeah. See, it's not even showing me the damage numbers all the time from the other things as well, when it starts lagging. Is someone else having the exact same performance problems in EU, on the EU servers, as I am? I feel like they changed their host in EU, and their host, the new one, is bad. Either that or something happened to the platform and it's just behaving terribly bad. See, again, I can't... Okay, I can use it now. One more Ember Shine. I'm gonna clear the map fully though. Even if I get the Ember Shine, I'm gonna clear everything here. It's the final map of the day. Get them all to spawn. And do this and do this and do this. There's a few more kills here. There's gotta be a few more here. We're almost done with the map. I'm intentionally not picking up the Ember Shine so that I don't have to return to the portal in the beginning of the map from the end of the map. Okay. Melty melt. How many more left? Few more. Okay, that's pretty nice. And that's not yet 99% or 98%. Obviously there are a few mobs I missed out, but that's fine. Oh, that's gonna be it. 12:19 a.m. So thanks Truckweb for tuning in, for watching today on Twitch and YouTube. Keep it cool until next time, and goodbye from me and from this one, from Sky. Say hello. He doesn't want to, he's shy. Okay, he's gonna eat now. So yeah, goodbye from me and from Sky, and until next time.